Hello.
Swimming's easy. I can teach him the way my mom taught me. Swim!
I am already home, and I am a wild robot.
Welcome, everyone. Who here was waiting for a recap of this film, The Wild Robot? This story is all about a robot that accidentally ends up caring for a young gosling after the gosling's mother dies. Our robot has to learn to be a loving mother to the little gosling and a friendly robot for all the animals in the forest. The film begins with a scene of a robot washing up on a deserted island, where it's discovered by a group of sea otters. This robot, named Roz, has an unfortunate start as it's swept away by a wave. Eventually, Roz manages to climb up a cliff and upon reaching the top, finds itself in the wild. Roz immediately begins exploring, trying to find someone who can assign it a task since it's designed as a multi-purpose robot with a goal to complete any task it's given. Along the way, Roz meets the other creatures of the forest. Unfortunately, all the animals reject Roz. Roz tries to communicate, but it can't speak the animals' language yet. So, Roz just helps out instinctively. Despite this, the animals still want nothing to do with Roz. What's unique about this place is that not only do the animals dislike Roz, but they also don't get along with each other. Seeing this sad state of affairs, Roz decides to activate its learning mode to understand the animals' language. After some time, Roz finishes learning everything about the animals and tries to interact with them again. Sadly, Roz is once again rejected and even feared. Feeling isolated, Roz plans to return to where it came from, using the transmitter in its head. But when it tries this from the top of the cliff, it's struck by lightning and falls. Roz's troubles don't end there. After it falls, a group of raccoons tries to steal all the parts from Roz's body. Even though Roz manages to fight them off, one of the raccoons takes the transmitter so Roz chases the raccoon to a bear's den. This angers the bear, and it chases Roz, causing Roz to fall into a ravine. Luckily, since Roz is a robot, it survives. But in the fall, a goose does not make it. However, Roz is able to save one of the goose's eggs and decides to care for it. Soon, a fox steals the egg, leading Roz to chase after the fox. Fortunately, Roz manages to rescue the egg from the fox, and even helps the fox by pulling out a porcupine's quill from its side. Then, the goose egg Roz saved finally hatches. Roz is shocked but tries to learn about the baby goose, who immediately sees Roz as its mother and follows it around. However, Roz is a robot and doesn't understand feelings, so it tries to leave the gosling behind, but the little one just keeps following. Eventually, Roz can't handle it anymore as the gosling accidentally breaks its transmitter. So Roz takes the baby goose to a possum mother named Pinktail, who's already looking after her own children. Roz's first meeting with Pinktail is a bit awkward, but it leaves the gosling with her. However, the gosling doesn't want to stay with Pinktail and returns to follow Roz. Seeing this, Pinktail tells Roz that it really should raise the baby gosling. At first, Roz refuses because it feels that caring for the gosling isn't its task. But clever Pinktail makes it official by giving Roz a job to take care of the gosling, starting with feeding it, then teaching it to swim, and later to fly. Roz takes its first task seriously, figuring out what the little gosling, named Brightbill, likes to eat. It's not an easy task, but in the process, Roz also ends up teaching Brightbill how to swim and fly at the same time.
Fly!
Watching all this is a fox named Fink, who initially wanted to eat Brightbill but now wants to help Roz. Roz is cautious, but eventually it accepts Fink's help. Fink slowly gives Roz suggestions for finding the right food for Brightbill, and though Fink takes advantage by eating some of Roz's food, he eventually gives Roz the right advice. They talk until sunset. Roz then decides to build a house for them to live in together. While gathering materials, they meet a beaver named Peddler, who is often teased by the other animals, including Fink, because he's always chopping down trees. However, Fink realizes that Peddler is excellent at building houses, so Roz follows Peddler's house design, working alone while Fink watches and gathers a few items, with Brightbill eagerly trying to help. That night, after a long day, they chat a little before heading to their new home, now feeling like a little family of Bright, Fink, and Roz. As Brightbill is about to fall asleep, Peddler shows up at the door, surprising Brightbill. Fink steps in to read Brightbill a bedtime story. Everything Fink does amazes Roz, and when Roz asks about it, Fink says he's just sharing what he feels. Eventually, they all sleep together, forming a small, happy family. Time passes and Brightbill grows up. Roz decides it's time to teach Brightbill to swim. Fink and Pinktail help and cheer him on, and though Brightbill succeeds, his technique is still awkward. Roz monitors him along the river using its drone hand. At one point, Brightbill encounters a group of geese who bully him because he's different. Luckily, a predator scares the geese off, but now Brightbill is in danger. Roz rushes in to save Brightbill, but loses one of its legs in the process. Shortly after, the bullying geese return and tell Brightbill the truth about his real parents, making Brightbill sad and angry with Roz for not telling him sooner. Their relationship becomes strained, and Roz, feeling hurt, wanders to the beach where it finds another robot like itself. Roz realizes why it's different and receives a new transmitter from the robot.
Take this. They will fix you.
Roz then decides to isolate itself on a cliff, but Fink joins Roz to keep it company. Roz had planned to leave the island, but Fink reminds it to train Brightbill to fly. Roz and Fink set out to teach Brightbill to fly. Though it's tough at first, Brightbill keeps trying, and Roz won't let him give up. That night, Roz even builds a runway to help Brightbill practice flying. When it's finished, Peddler brings a wooden leg for Roz, hoping it will complete its task well. In the morning, they train again, and Brightbill manages to fly, though he still needs more strength. Fink then suggests they meet Thunderbolt, a falcon, to train Brightbill to fly higher. Thunderbolt agrees to help, and Brightbill's training progresses beautifully.
Small wings are teeth, the claws of the sky. Show me your teeth!
Afterward, Longneck, the migration leader, tells Roz that Brightbill needs tougher training to fly without landing for a week. Roz pushes Brightbill to his limits, and after a week, Brightbill flies confidently. When Migration Day arrives, Brightbill leaves with the flock for the winter. Roz, now alone, plans to return to its home.
Activating return transmitter in 3, 2, 1.
While Brightbill and the flock have to hide in human shelters due to a severe storm. Unfortunately, they're spotted by robots like Roz, and chaos ensues,
Animal infestation.
forcing them to flee. Longneck sacrifices himself to protect Brightbill. Meanwhile, Roz notices Fink has come to seek shelter from the extreme winter, worrying Roz about the safety of the other animals. With Fink's help, Roz brings all the animals to a big house, keeping them safe. Yet the animals start fighting with each other, disregarding Roz's worsening condition after saving them.
Fink, what is happening?
Frustrated, Fink scolds the animals, making them realize Roz's sacrifice, and they finally hibernate peacefully until spring. When spring arrives, Roz awakens just as Brightbill returns. Roz chooses not to meet him, but soon after, a large aircraft arrives, piloted by a jellyfish-like robot named Vantra, who intends to retrieve Roz and erase its memories. Brightbill arrives, but Vantra doesn't allow it, chasing Roz with an army of robots. The forest animals rush to Roz's defense, fighting to protect it. Despite their bravery, Roz is taken, and the forest catches fire from the robot's blasts. Brightbill and his flock pursue the ship, while Fink and the animals fight to put out the fire. Brightbill sneaks aboard and finds Roz mid-memory wipe. But Roz remembers him, and together they defeat Vantra and escape. Back in the forest, Fink and the animals have put out the fire, and they joyfully welcome Roz back, celebrating as a family. For the next few days, Roz and everyone rebuild their home. Roz finally decides to leave, thinking it's best for the animals. Seasons pass, and in winter, the animals gather to reminisce about Roz. Meanwhile, Roz now works as a robot assistant for humans. Though Roz greets people warmly, they don't respond as warmly as the animals did. Still, Roz occasionally gets to see Brightbill, and when they meet again, they share a heartfelt hug, happy to be reunited.